Hello everyone, it's Cam. Welcome to another video. Today we're going to do an album review. Now it's been a first since I've done these for quite a while. I have not, well actually I reviewed Please Please Me by the Beatles just 2 weeks ago, but this is the first album from this artist, or first video I've done on this artist that I've talked about in quite a while. I wanted to do another video because I hadn't done a video on this band for a while, and this is one of my favourite bands. And I wanted to review one of their albums, and this album just sprung to mind, and began to listen to it for the review. So the album we're talking about today is Good Trouble from REO Speedwagon in 1982. So I'm going to go over a bit of background behind the album, show you my copies of the album, and go over each track individually, and give the album as a whole a marking out of 10. So Good Trouble was REO Speedwagon's 10th studio album, or 11th if you were to count the live album, their 11th album, released on the 11th of June in 1982 on Epic Records. This was their follow-up album to the very successful album High Infidelity, which had been released in 1980. And High Infidelity had been such a huge hit, was a big hit all over the world. It had the big hits Keep On Loving You and Take It On The Run, and Don't Let Him Go and songs like that, and it's one of my all-time favourite albums. The band then went on tour, quite a long tour for High Infidelity, and they had come off the road after a Japanese tour in the September of 1981, but then they kind of realised that they were kind of under a bit of pressure to come up with a follow, because the record label Epic Records were very keen for a follow-up album. The band felt the pressure, in particular the chief songwriter and lead vocalist Kevin Cronin. Kevin felt immense pressure and kind of felt as if some of the songs weren't ready to do, but they went into the studio in February of 1982. They went into the Sound City Studios where they'd recorded You Could Tune a Piano But You Can't Tune a Fish album, and I think they'd also done the Nine Lives album over at Sound City as well, and Tom Petty also recorded at Sound City as well. And then they recorded it for about 3 months before it was complete in the May of 1982. But like I said earlier, Kevin was under a lot of pressure, and on the first day of the studio sessions, he actually voted to scrap the project, but the others outvoted him. And things got even more chaotic when their engineer and co-producer was a guy called Kevin Beamish. Kevin Beamish had been with them since the Nine Lives album in 1979, so just 3 years prior. But relations between him and the band were starting to kind of fray, and literally during the recording of Good Trouble, he left the REO Speedwagon project to begin work on another band's album. So it's not surprising that things probably got a bit chaotic. But all the pressure and hard work paid off, and it was complete, and the album came out in June of 1982. When it was released, it peaked at number 7 in the Billboard charts in the US and number 29 in the UK. Now, what were you people buying back in 1982? Because this is a great album. I know it might not be like High Infidelity. In terms of sales, it sold around about 2 million copies, which was good, but it wasn't anything like High Infidelity, which sold like 10 million copies, that album, worldwide. So, but it's a great album, I do like it, and today we're going to talk about the album. There's a front. As you can see, this is kind of like the escapades that they would get on tour, hence the title Good Trouble. As you can see, there's a cleaner lady here, and there's like a telephone, a wine bottle, and a pair of like women's slippers, and some kind of pantyhose on the lamp. And the cleaner doesn't know what she's going to expect. It's like a hotel sort of thing, and she doesn't know what to expect. And the back is a picture of the band in another part of like this hotel, and they've all got their luggage. So there's the band at the back there, the tracks there. It comes with a lyric insert with each band member, a picture of each band member, album credits, where it was recorded, and whatnot, and the lyrics to the songs on the other side and who plays what in each track. And it's just in a standard plain white inner sleeve. Which I presume that's how it came in. I don't think it came in anything kind of fancy or anything like that. But we are still on Epic Records, but we're on this kind of customised label for it. And this was actually my this copy was actually my dad's copy of the album, so, and it actually plays really well, which is good. Even if it's a bit tatty, the record plays really well, which is good. So I've also got the album on CD, and this comes from the REO Speedwagon Classic Years box set, which I have done a video of. If you want to see me talk about that in more detail, go back to the channel where I did an unboxing of it. So if you want to see me show that, you can go and look at the channel. That's the CD version, kind of packaged similar to the vinyl. And it's on this label. Okay, so now we're going over all the album's tracks. So we start side one on a great one with Keep the Fire Burning. This was the first single off the album. This is a great song. I really like the kind of guitar intro and the piano and Kevin's vocals, and the lyrics are great. There's a live version in the intro. He wrote the song saying they wrote this in like the winter of '81 when it was quite like, you know, cold, and they wrote this song. And it's a great song. I really like the kind of backing vocals as well, and the keyboard solo in the middle played by Neil Doughty. That's great. That's a great song, and this is one of the few ones that have been played since the Good Trouble tour. Because after the Good Trouble tour, I think it's kind of evident that because, you know, Kevin didn't really like making this album as much, they never really played any of the songs after the Good Trouble tour was sort of complete. But this was one of the ones they've played live in the years since on occasional shows and a solo acoustic arrangement. But this is a really great song. It's one of my favourite REO songs. And actually, this was the first single off the album, released in 1982. There's the album. There's the single, sorry. This is the UK version, which is kind of had the picture sleeve similar to the album. So there's the single. So yeah, one of my favourite songs from the Good Trouble album, and one of my favourite REO Speedwagon songs in the catalogue. And this is definitely in the top 10, which again I've done a video of, so if you want to see me go back and talk about that in more detail, you can do so. And then we have Sweet Time, which is another Kevin Cronin composition. And this is a great song, and this is one that Kevin said that he never felt was fully finished. But this is one of my favourite REO songs. I really like the kind of acoustic guitar in it, and the kind of vocals as well from Kevin. Lyrics are quite nice, you know, as well. And yeah, it's one of my favourites. It has two verses and the chorus repeated a few times, but it's a great song. I don't really matter what, I mean, sorry Kevin, I love this song. You know, I always seem to like a lot of these songs and albums, which a lot of my favourite artists seem to don't. I mean, like Elton John's Leather Jackets is a perfect example. He's never liked that album, but I think it's okay. I like it, you know, I think it's good. Yeah, Sweet Time is one of my favourites. This was also the second single from the album, released in August of 1982, and this is my UK single copy of it. So yeah, this is the Sweet Time 45. It doesn't get really acknowledged that often. In terms of greatest hits, Sweet Time hasn't really appeared on any, but Keep the Fire Burning is one that has appeared on greatest hits albums that I've got on, a couple which I've got on CD. But this, however, did make an appearance on the Essential REO Speedwagon, the 3.0, the 3 CD edition of that one. So, you know, it kind of does, in a way, make an appearance on, like, greatest hits albums, but maybe not as often as some of the others. Then we have a song called Girl with the Heart of Gold. This is a great one. This is one written and sung by the bass guitarist Bruce Hall, and it's one of my favourite ones that Bruce Hall does in the REO Speedwagon catalogue. Bruce has a great voice. It's got a great rocky sort of vibe, this song, and even Kevin Cronin does some of the things, shares the vocals and with Bruce as well. Kevin does the Every Time She Looks My Way line, and then sings the chorus with Bruce Hall. And yeah, it's a great song. It's one of my favourite from the catalogue, one from the album. And there's actually a music video for this one on YouTube as well, with the band just playing the song, which is really good. But they actually did quite a few music videos for this this album, to hopefully sort of get the push for this album and promote it. Then we have one of my favourite REO Speedwagon rarities and album tracks, Every Now and Then. This is written by the guitarist Gary Richrath, but sung by Kevin. It's kind of like, it has a similar kind of structure to sort of Take It on the Run in a way. It kind of reminds me a bit of that with the guitar intro, and then Kevin starts singing, and then it kicks into the band. Kind of reminds me of that in a way, and it's one of my favourite REO songs. I really like the backing vocals in it as well, and I really like the guitar solo at the end as well, before it sort of fades out. That's a great guitar solo and one of my favourites. Even the guitar solo in the middle is great as well. One of my favourite Gary Richrath compositions, the one that it doesn't get as acknowledged as I think it should, really, because I think it's one of my favourites from the album. And I've even heard like some fans say that this should have been like a single off the album. Yeah, absolutely, I agree, because this was a Gary Richrath composition, and Gary got Take It On The Run as a single, and In Your Letter as a single too. So yeah, Gary was just an underrated composer, a songwriter and guitarist for the band. He was the kind of driving force behind it, in many ways. And last track on side one is a song called I'll Follow You. This is a favourite of them. This is one that took a while to grow on me, but I now do really like this song. It was a B-side of the Keep the Fire Burning single, and I really like the kind of... this is another real rocky vibe edge to it. And it's a great song, one of my favourites now. I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, this one took a while for me to grow. There were some songs in this record that took a while for me to go, this is great, I think it's fantastic. I would say they were good, but then after a few more listens I would gradually begin to realise, hey, these songs are great. You know, sometimes with these things it takes a while for it to sort of, for you to love it. And that happens on some occasions. But yeah, I'll Follow You is a great song, one of my favourites. This was one that they did play on the Good Trouble tour in 82, 83, because you can hear like live recordings of this song. They did play quite a few songs off this album on the tour, which we'll touch upon later on in the video. Next, okay, now we turn that over to side 2, and we have a song called The Key, which is one of my favourite ones, written by Kevin. The Key was the third and last single from the album, which I don't have on me. But it was another one that they did a music video for and played live on the tour. Yeah, The Key is one of my favourites. I really like the kind of lyrics to it. You know, Kevin's kind of saying, you know, look in my heart, I wish I could open up my heart and look inside of me, for I am the only one that holds the key. I quite like those kind of lines. You know, basically sort of saying, you know, kind of, you know, you open up and you look inside of somebody, you know, you have the key to sort of open up to sort of somebody, you know, and look inside of them in a way. And it's a great song, one of my favourites. This one, again, didn't appear in compilations as much, but is on a 2-CD set that I've got called The Essential REO Speedwagon in 2004. So that one was on the compilation. That's quite good because it's a really great one. I don't know if The Key charted as a single. It may have done, but I don't know if it did. I'll need to look it up again. I'm not sure if Sweet Time charted, but I know that Keep the Fire Burning was a big hit. I'm not sure if Sweet Time or The Key charted. They could have charted either or. But another great song, one of my favourites from the REO catalogue. One that definitely doesn't get as much representation or talked about as much. Okay, the next track is Back in My Heart Again, which is one of my favourites from the Gary Richrath. I really like this song, one of my favourites. One that, again, doesn't get as acknowledged or talked about as much, but I love it. It's one of my favourite REO songs. This is one I really liked on first listen, along with quite a few other songs on the album. It's a really great song. Back in My Heart Again. Yeah, one of my favourites. Don't know what else to say, but it's a great song. It's one of my favourites. Then we turn it over and then we go to another Bruce Hall song, which is one he sings and writes, called Let's Bebop. Now you may think, Let's Bebop, that's going to sound like a bad song, but no, it's actually a really good rocky song and upbeat. This is kind of like REO's kind of love letter to the fans, you know, when it's over, we will think of you and remember, like after the show, you know, even if the show's over, we'll still think of how great you were to us at the show. It's kind of like a love letter song to their fans in a way, which is the way I see it. And Kevin Cronin shares vocals with Bruce on this one as well, like Kevin does in a lot of songs. Like on Someone Tonight from the previous album, High Infidelity, Kevin and Bruce share the vocals on that song, like they do in this one. This is a great one. Let's Bebop was the B-side of The Key, so this is a great song. And this is one that they played live on the tour, on the Good Trouble tour as well, because you can hear like various concerts from that tour. In like 1982, 1983, in places like, you know, Los Angeles and Milwaukee and Rockford, Illinois. So you can kind of hear them do them live on those shows. And then we're getting to the end of the album. We've got The Stillness of the Night. Now, Stillness of the Night is a Gary Richrath composition. Another Gary Richrath. We get 4 Gary Richrath compositions and 4 Kevin Cronin ones. This is a Gary Richrath one, and this is the last one on the album. Stillness of the Night is one of my favourites. Again, this is one that it took a while for me to grow on, but now I think it's a great song and I really like it. It was the B-side to the Sweet Time single. and one of my favorites. Again, this is one that they did a video of. They did a video as well for the 3 singles and Stillness of the Night and Girl in the Heart of Gold. But they also done ones for Back in My Heart Again, I'll Follow You in Good Trouble, which they haven't surfaced on the internet, but hopefully they'll surface one day, those videos. Anyway, Stillness of the Night's a great song. I kind of like the kind of lyrics to it, the way Gary writes the song, the description. Midnight on the hill, I heard the thunder, the stillness of the night, it hit me like a slap, you're never coming back. Those kind of lyrics. I kind of like the way he kind of writes those songs. Yeah, great song, one of my favourites, Stillness of the Night. Yeah, great song, not sure what else to say much on it. And then the last track is the title track, Good Trouble. Good Trouble is a great rocky way to close off the album. And it's kind of like a song that Kevin's written like it's in a groupie or something like that. You know, I'll be here again next year and then you'll be again. Or after the show I'll get a hold of you, and things like don't tell your... what are the lyrics again? Hang on, I need to check the lyric insert. Don't tell your mother or something like that. It's an awful sin. Don't let them tell you it's a mortal sin, because I know it's alright. And if your mama asks you where you've been in some good trouble. Those kind of lyrics. It's kind of like a groupie sort of song in a way. Because that's the kind of case. But it's a great rocky song to end the album, and written by Kevin as well. It's a kind of great song, one of my favourites from the album. So yeah, that's me going over all the tracks. Sorry if I've not said much on the album, but I really like this album. It's one of my favourites. And so in the years that have passed, Kevin kind of doesn't really look very fondly on the album. He kind of thinks of the pressure he was under to record, and even before the Good Trouble tour, he didn't want the tour. He wanted to cancel the tour and do some charity shows, but he eventually agreed to do the tour. And then after the Good Trouble tour was done, as I say, they didn't really play any of the songs live, and only really a couple have been played live in the years since. But, however, he did actually acknowledge the album when he was doing his Songs and Stories from Camp Cronin on kind of Facebook and YouTube, like live streaming during the COVID lockdown. He did acknowledge this album and play some songs off the album, which was quite a surprise to sort of see. But it's a great album, and it really does get a lot of unfair slack from people because it wasn't like High Infidelity. I know it was different to High Infidelity. It was very much similar but different, but it's still nonetheless a great album. And REO Speedwagon did great albums before and after High Infidelity. And then after this album, Kevin says that they did Wheels on Turning record in 1984, and that had another big hit, and that was when he felt they were ready to do the follow-up album. That was when an album they were ready to do. All in all, Good Trouble gets a 10 out of 10. It is a brilliant album. As I said in the video, there were some songs that took a while for me to sort of grow on, and now they became great songs, and they've become some favourites of mine in the album. So, yeah, that's really it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe. I hope to do some more kind of album reviews on my favourite artists and some favourite records of mine. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you for the next video.